Tonight on CTV, a look into the protests that have occurred on campus today and yesterday.
Michael Rosales will bring a look into tax season and scams that come with it.
And how people are being more sustainable through thrifting.
All this and more tonight on CTV.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Madison Szpunar.
And I'm Karma Robins. Earlier today, students staged a silent protest inside the administration building, sitting in hallways and holding signs to express their concerns. The demonstration was organized in response to recent changes in federal policy regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. Participants say they are concerned about the impact on funding for cultural centers and programs that support student engagement. University officials say they recognize student concerns but must comply to federal guidelines. Administrators have encouraged students to utilize existing resources as discussions continue on how to navigate the changes. The situation remains fluid with students, university administrators, and federal officials continuing to navigate the impact of these policy changes.
Students also gathered yesterday in the Laurie Student Center Plaza at 1 in the afternoon, protesting the same issue, the recent news on DEI policies in schools and universities. The protest came after Amy Parsons sent out an email on Tuesday discussing the new guidelines and the potential impact on federal funding. Parsons claimed that she feels CSU is already compliant with the policies, but additional steps must be taken to ensure protection of federal funding. Students shared their frustration and worry outside of the administration building, voicing their concerns over the future of diversity and inclusion on campus.
So this really all started as a coalition of students from the Race, Gender, and Ethnic Studies department who were worried. We were worried about our major, we were worried about our fellow students not being able to graduate, and obviously, as students of the department, we cannot exist without existing intersectionally, and so it expanded from there. And today we had a protest in support of not only diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, but our cultural resource centers. There was a Dear Colleague letter put out on the 14th by the Department of Education, basically saying that if you do not comply with anti-DEIA orders, you will lose federal funding.
The university claims that the new DEI regulations won't impact anyone, but students claim they're already seeing changes.
Our goal is really one about the future, right? We want cultural resource centers to be funded, we want them to stay, and we want DEIA to be supported by our university. So we'll have to see if our university follows their commitments to protect students. However, I do think that we were able to create a lot of student coalition. People were able to feel supported and feel that they had a community around them who was willing to fight for them.
Some CSU students believe the university isn't taking action to protect the students that are impacted by DEI. DEI includes programs focusing on race, gender, and disability inclusion. Protesters argue it could limit efforts to promote equal opportunity, while supporters think it will allow more focus on academic merit.
I am a Jewish individual, and I strictly follow one of the values, which is known as tikkun olam, and that is healing the world. And that really what that means is that the world can be better and will be better, but you have to be the one to make it better. You have to put in the work. And to heal the world is in social justice. Heal the world is in making the world a better place for all people, a more just place.
Students remain vocal as this debate unfolds. It's clear that the issue of DEI is expected to continue to spark discussion and actions across campuses nationwide. But for CSU, administration remains adamant that the university must follow all state and federal law.
The Boulder County Coroner's Office confirmed on Tuesday that a body found in a hard-to-reach spot in Boulder Canyon is that of the University of Colorado Boulder student Megan Trussell, who went missing on February 9th. City of Boulder Open Space and Mountain Park Rangers contacted the Boulder County Sheriff's Office on Saturday morning after discovering the body of a deceased female who matched Trussell's description. In an update on Tuesday, the Sheriff's Office stated that they do not believe this incident to be a threat to the community. However, the investigation is still underway and it is too soon to determine a cause of death. The Trussell family created an online GoFundMe fundraiser, which was initially intended to support the search of Megan. Now, the donations will be used for funeral arrangements and further supporting Megan's family.
Police in Fort Collins have arrested 18-year-old Ethan Campbell in connection with a home invasion and assault last year. The incident occurred on May 4th, 2024, when a masked man entered a woman's apartment and assaulted her. Police say the man demanded that she confess her sins before fleeing after neighbors intervened. Campbell was arrested after a community member contacted the police with a tip in January that linked him to the crime. He faces severe charges as an adult, including attempted murder and burglary, and is being held on a $75,000 bond.
Fort Collins Rescue Mission is set to expand to a new state-of-the-art campus, allowing for more homeless people to find shelter. Fort Collins Rescue Mission had no choice but to turn away thousands of homeless seeking shelter in 2024 due to lack of capacity in the 89-bed facility. Now, such rejections will hopefully be an issue of the past. The shelter plans to expand and relocate from its present 5,000 square foot facility to a $27 million, 38,000 square foot facility that will include 250 beds along with private spaces for intake and case management services. With help from major stakeholders and Fort Collins-based philanthropy founded by Pat Stryker, Fort Collins Rescue Mission has already secured $23.9 million of the $27 million price to complete the project. The site at North College Avenue and Hibden Court in Fort Collins will undergo its construction this summer and is scheduled to open in the winter of 2026.
Last week on Friday night, an avalanche swept Vu Wen's truck off of Loveland Pass, flipping it multiple times before he ended up upside down in a vehicle. Thanks to his seatbelt and airbags, Wen survived but was buried under the snow along with his truck. He managed to dig himself out and was rescued by strangers who helped him contact his family and gave him shelter until they arrived. The Colorado Department of Transportation closed Loveland Pass Saturday to clear snow. However, avalanche risk still remains considerable in the area, and travelers are warned of slick conditions. We're now going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. Next, Lena Juhlin will bring us to the forecast for the upcoming weeks.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me! Okay, no.
Robbie.
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon?
I can do fireball, that'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, to all of us!
Well,
we're in a 4-foot room!
I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do?
Okay. Hold on. All right. Wizard. You gonna roll?
Hi Rams, my name's Lena Juhlin, here to bring you this week's weather. For our current conditions, it's 21 degrees outside. Sunset was at 5:41 p.m. We have 72% humidity and 5-mile-per-hour winds. This week, the National Weather Service issued a hazardous weather outlook, which will be in place through Friday. This entails some colder temperatures and some slippery road conditions. So if you are going out, make sure to watch your step and drive safely. This cold weather won't last forever though. It's already brought out a lot of creatures around campus, including the squirrels and the geese. Looking at our overnight lows, along the I-25 corridor, we have temperatures in those teens. Fort Collins and Colorado Springs will be at 16, Denver at 18, and Pueblo at 10. Looking into the eastern plains, it will be a bit colder. Sterling will be at 2, Lyman and Lamar at 7, and Burlington at 3. Into our western slopes, for tomorrow's forecast, the high will be 40 degrees. The low will be 18. Sunset will be at 5:42 p.m. with 60% humidity and 6-mile-per-hour winds. Into our 5-day forecast, we'll have some temperatures heating up this week, with Saturday at 49, Sunday at 59. Those lows will stay in the 20s and 30s throughout the week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will have some warmer temperatures too. Monday being a high of 66, which is exciting out there. It will start to dip back down, but you can expect clear skies throughout the week. That's all we have for weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Lena. Let me tell you, I'm done with the cold. I am ready for sun. I'm ready for the beach. I'm ready for it all. I miss laying under the trees and being able to be outside longer.
Definitely, me too. Being from the beach, coming here to the cold weather is just very cold. Speaking of trees, some forests in Colorado have been found to be emitting more carbon than being absorbed, mostly due to insect kill and disease. This is a research study that is being conducted by Professor Tony Vorsha with the help of professors and students in Colorado and around the country.
So when looking statewide, we found that on the whole, our forests are releasing slightly more carbon than they're capturing. This is mainly due to insects and disease in the forest that have been killing trees over the past, our study period was the last 20 years.
Professor Voischer, CSU students, and others around the countries have found potential solutions to this ongoing problem.
With forest carbon. That includes things like if you are going to do some forestry work, so maybe you're doing fuels reduction to reduce the risk of severe wildfire. Rather than that material you remove from the forest, just burning it like we often do, that just releases the carbon straight to the atmosphere. If you can take that wood and put it into a wood product that's going to continue to store that carbon, or it might offset other energy uses.
CSU's future research is necessary for the next steps with this issue.
Some future research directions that are happening here at CSU include understanding how fires impact forest carbon, what the best way is to replant forests after fire, understanding how carbon management plays into forest management.
Some people think that this may not have an impact on them, but CSU is affected by this situation.
Well, one way CSU is involved in this issue is a number of ongoing research projects. So some of the questions that this brings up, CSU is taking forward to do further research. Things like, what are the effects of wildfire on forest carbon?
Before learning about this study, I had no idea what the danger was of more carbon being emitted than absorbed. This study was interesting to learn more about, especially how it impacts Colorado and CSU.
President Donald Trump said he will continue to restrict the Associated Press's access to his events until it refers to the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. Trump claimed this is a retaliation against AP's refusal to adopt the name, which he ordered after taking office. AP defends its positions, saying it's a free speech issue and it stands by using Gulf of Mexico for clarity. This dispute is part of a pattern of tensions between Trump and mainstream media. Trump has also restricted access to several news organizations, including the Pentagon, and he continues his lawsuit against CBS. Trump's team claims that media access to presidential events is a privilege and not a right.
A Florida man was charged for attempted murder after he allegedly shot and injured 2 men who he thought were Palestinian, according to Miami Beach police. Mordecai Braffman was arrested on Saturday after allegedly firing 17 times into the victim's car, injuring both the passenger and the driver. This shooting comes amid heightened tension between Israelis and Palestinians, as a ceasefire deal has come into place while working out a post-war plan for Gaza. Both victims survived the shooting. One was shot in the left shoulder, while a bullet grazed the second victim in the left forearm. According to police records, the Florida chapter of Muslim Civil Rights Organization has called for hate crime charges to be filed against Braffman, as statements made to the police indicate an anti-Palestinian motive.
Hamas announced it will free 6 living Israeli hostages on Saturday and return the bodies of 4 on Thursday, in exchange for Israel allowing mobile homes and construction equipment be moved into Gaza. This moves up the timeline of hostage release under a ceasefire deal, which had originally been scheduled to release 3 hostages each week. Israel will continue to release Palestinian prisoners as part of the deal, while Gaza continues to rebuild efforts, with the World Bank estimating damage costs at around $53.2 billion.
A Delta plane crash recently occurred at Toronto's Pearson Airport, resulting in 21 injured passengers. A video shows the moment where the plane erupted into a fireball and flipped upside down while coming in for a crash landing. The 76 passengers and 4 crew members aboard evacuated the aircraft after the accident occurred. The plane had departed from Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. According to the CEO of the Greater Toronto Airports Authority, the 21 hurt passengers faced injuries that range from mild to critical, but not life-threatening. 19 of those passengers have been released from the hospital, while 2 still remain hospitalized. We are now going to head over to our investigative reporter, Michael Rosales, as he takes a look into scams during tax season. Michael?
Thanks, guys. Tax season is here, and while many people are focused on filing, scammers are looking for their next target. I spoke with experts about how to spot scams and where to find free, reliable tax help.
Tax season is here, and with it comes an increase in scams targeting taxpayers.
We always do see tax scams this time of year. There are kind of 2 primary forms that they take, and we call them carrot or stick scams.
These scams typically fall into 2 categories. The carrot scams, where scammers promise you a large refund or tax credit that doesn't exist, and the stick scams, where they impersonate the IRS and threaten you with arrest or legal action if you don't pay immediately.
One of the scams that we do see in this area typically targets students because they are telling students that they are due some kind of tax credit or a tax break because of their student status. So that's one, I guess, audience or group that does get targeted by this kind of thing.
Whether it's a threat of arrest or a fake refund offer, scammers know how to pressure their targets into acting quickly.
I think one of the key points to remember is to slow down. Scammers will try to get you to act quickly. They want you to make a rash decision and not really think about what they're telling you.
So what could you do to stay safe? Marcus suggests filing early and being proactive to avoid becoming a target.
It's really important to file taxes as early as possible. The more you delay, the more potential there is for a scammer to target you.
See, now there are some really great resources out there. One of those is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program, or VITA. They offer free tax assistance.
VITA is a volunteer program where you can get credits. People can come get their taxes done for free. And we're just all accounting students looking for experience. And we're open on Saturdays for a few hours, and people come in and they hand us their forms.
While avoiding scams is crucial, it's also important to be aware of deceptive practices in the tax preparation industry. For instance, Intuit, the company behind TurboTax, agreed to a $141 million settlement in 2023 for misleading millions of Americans into paying for tax services that should have been free.
I've used TurboTax before. This year when I was trying to file my taxes on TurboTax, it was trying to get me to pay like $100, and in the past I had known that I had done it for free.
As we've seen, scams are on the rise, and it's more important than ever to stay vigilant.
Slow down and do the research, I think, is a really key point. Coming to BBB, asking questions, going online and doing the research.
If you need free, reliable tax help, programs like VITA offer IRS-certified volunteers to help low to moderate income filers, including students, complete their returns at no cost. Experts say filing early and staying informed are the best ways to avoid being scammed. We will now take a quick break, but when we get back, Payton Barill will bring us this week's court report.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Hi Ram fans, welcome back to Thursday Night News. I'm Payton Barill here to give you this week's court report. Starting off with men's basketball, the Rams had an exciting win from behind in a game against the Nevada Wolfpack, winning 79-71. In the first half of the game, the Rams had 10 turnovers, giving the Wolfpack an easy 9 points. It wasn't until the second half that the Rams finally took the lead for the first time. Leading scorer for the Rams, Nick Clifford, had 22 points and 5 assists, building momentum in the second half. The Rams offense came out of the gates with an 8-0 run. Rashawn Memba had managed 12 points but really shined on defense with 10 rebounds and a block. Ending the game with an 8-point lead, the Rams, now with 2 consecutive wins, will head to Las Vegas this Saturday to face the Rebels for a second time this season. Even more good news for Ram fans as the women's team continues their streak, having just taken down the Fresno State Bulldogs in an orange-out at Moby Arena just last night. Taking an early lead in this game, the girls shut down Fresno State's defense even as they transitioned over to a full-court press in the second half. Emma Rosnick led the Rams in points, rebounds, and assists, sinking 4 three-pointers and played nearly the entire game. Rosnick also just became one of 4 current Division I players who have surpassed 2,000 career points, an impressive accomplishment. Also on fire was Marta Lamina. Showing off her fine-tuned footwork, Lamina scored 9 points and contributed to the team's effortless teamwork, the 20-point takedown. Coming up, the girls will also play the Las Vegas Rebels this Saturday at home for a pink-out. UNLV is currently ranked the first in the conference and will no doubt challenge the Rams. It'll be a good game. That's all I have for you tonight, but stay tuned for a look into thrifting culture here in Fort Collins.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me!
Okay, no.
Robbie!
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon?
I can do fireball, that'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, to all of us!
Well,
We're in a 4-foot room!
I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do?
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Wizard, what do you do?
Back from the break, Rams. More CSU students are turning to thrift and vintage stores to save money and live more sustainably, choosing secondhand fashion over fast fashion's environmental impact. Local shops say they've been seeing a rise in student shoppers, driven by affordability and economic trends. With fast fashion producing massive amounts of waste each year, more CSU students are turning to thrift and vintage stores for sustainable alternatives. For students looking to shop sustainably, local thrift and vintage stores offer affordable, eco-friendly fashion options while reducing textile waste.
First off, they're going to be one of the cheapest options that you have around town. So financially, it's going to be one of the most sustainable, as well as the fact that we just have so many textiles in the world that, I mean, there's so many great places to shop around town that.
Thrift trends are constantly changing, and right now CSU students are embracing styles from the past.
There's a lot of really fun styles that come around town, but right now, like the Y2K trend is really big, denim's really big.
Beyond the fashion, customers often find hidden gems that connect them to their past.
I had somebody find a t-shirt from like a 1993 picnic that they went to as a kid that like threw them back into like being like itty bitty. It was awesome. That was super fun.
As sustainable shopping gains popularity, local vintage stores are expanding and making an impact.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been growing a lot recently. There's been a few other really awesome stores pop up. Shout out Oak Street Vintage. They're some of our friends. They just opened last week. But it's great. It's great to see the community grow. We're just happy to be here.
With accessibility and self-expression at the heart of thrifting, Fort Collins' vintage scene isn't just about shopping. It's about community.
I feel like people are really leaning into like self-expression and self-style a lot more now too, and I feel like that's a lot more accessible through thrift stores.
Whether it's finding a unique piece, saving money, or supporting sustainability, local thrift stores like the ones in Fort Collins offer something for everybody. Thrifting isn't just a budget-friendly choice for CSU students. It's a step towards a more sustainable future. As secondhand shopping continues to grow, students are proving that fashion and sustainability can go hand in hand. What about you guys? Do you guys ever go thrifting?
I do. I enjoy a good little thrift. I can say I may go to like a little bit of a different thrift store. I go to like Plato's Closet, so things aren't as discounted there, but it's still great. I go to the Arc, Goodwill.
I definitely go thrifting. I love Goodwill. I got some nice PacSun jeans from there for like $20, so that was really nice.
Love me some good thrifted jeans. They're always better.
Always.
That is going to bring us to the end of our broadcast for the night.
We'll be back next Thursday to bring you all of the Fort Collins news. We'll see you next time.